Assalamu alaikum, my dear students. I hope that you are all fine and well. I'm going to talk about the lecture, and just to move it, you see, the next step in that was actually on on pragmatics, So obviously, I'm going to talk about it further. And this was actually, if you remember, that was a George Jude lecture. I have shared it there. I'm actually sitting here in Mangora in a shop, and where I'm trying to speak out in order to make you able to understand it. If you remember, I teach you this, the axis and then person and then examples of it. These are the usual concepts which we will come across, in pragmatics. This lecture I did it before the axis and before this reference and inference I'll talk about. Now I move a little bit, you see, there to pragmatic connections, So this pragmatic connections, I would certainly like you people to pay full attention to this, that what is this pragmatic. So what does it mean? A conventional associations between persons, okay? A person's name in a kind of object within a social, culturally defined community, okay? A person's name and a kind of object which is associated to that particular person, and which gives meaning with that given defined community. For example, if somebody say, "Can I borrow your Shakespeare?" So Shakespeare, he is actually one of the famous English poets and pragmatists. He's a universal poet and universal writers indeed. Basically, but here, I mean, if you look at this context, in this immediate context, it means that can I borrow your Shakespeare? So it means that can I borrow your book of Shakespeare, or Shakespeare books, or anything related to Shakespeare, which is the name of a book. So you can take it there. So here, it means that it refers, or we can say that the shelves of my almirah is full of Shakespeare, means books. And Picasso's on the four wall. So here, it means either painting or either picture of Picasso, which is somewhere attached on the wall. So here it means in the given context. So the intended and infer actually referent is not a person but probably a book. Here the intended and the infer meaning is not actually the name of the person. Like you see Picasso's or Shakespeare. So we do not mean these persons, when we are talking about. So this term is pragmatic connections. So we are trying to establish a kind of pragmatic connections, you see, with these two objects there. Like you can see that, for example, if you say, "Can I borrow Shakespeare?" So here Shakespeare refers to a book which might be somewhere lying actually there on a table or somewhere. Or we can say Picasso's on the far wall there. So here, either it refers to the painting of Picasso's or to, obviously to Picasso's painting. So here the intending and the inferred referent is not the person but only probably the book. Okay? Now we are going to talk about the cortex. Okay? First, let me tell you something. The cortex. Cortex, remember, it refers to linguistic environment in which the word is used. So a particular linguistic environment where this word is used, the cortex clearly limits our range of possible interpretation we might have for a word. Like say Brazil wins World Cup. So here it means that the team of Brazil, okay, they wins the World Cup. So this linguistics, linguistic cortex enable us to understand and mean the team of Brazil. Brazil would be the referring expression, and the rest of the sentence the cortex. And see, this is only the cortex, means that you see this cortex wins the World Cup. What does it mean? it is only the linguistic environment which enables you to tell that something this word is being used in there. Okay. um, Cortex further is elaborated, there. Like we can say it's just a linguistic part of the environment. This is in which a referring expression is used. This is only the linguistic part, okay? Means where language is used. While context, that is the physical environment in which a word is used, alright? Linguistic means the actual word which is being used there. While the context means that the physical environment which enables you to use something there, okay? Which is quite larger than the cortex, okay? Guess now you have to context actually, you have to guess the context now for this referring expression. Referring means that you have to refer and take some meanings out of this thing there. Like for example, your 10:30 just cancel. All right, it may refer to for example dentist, okay, to dentist or a doctor actually appointment. So your 10:30 just cancelled. So you can refer that the appointment which you have taken with the dentist has been cancelled. So this is actually quite indirectly, and you refer actually from this expression there. Well, the second, the heart attack mustn't be moved. So the heart attack mustn't be moved. Mean the person who is experiences heart attack, he should not be moved. What does it mean? It means that it gives us actually the context, you see, of hospital. You can see hospital, because we are going to context hospital. So sometimes even the sentence, the linguistic expression enable us just to guess and go actually for the context there. So hospital and the dentist or any doctor, and a couple of rooms have complained about the heat. So obviously this tells us the context, you see, of a hotel, all right, where some clients have taken actually some rooms, and where some heat issue must be here. So we can say hotel. All right. So my dear, sometimes the sentences, itself, they are enough actually for the context. Now we are moving to some very important concept, and they are actually the anaphoric references. So what is anaphoric references? The expression used to maintain reference to something or someone already mentioned. Like, anaphoric means which takes you back, okay? Like, for example, a man was looking at us. He then disappeared. So, this is actually anaphoric. It takes you back, okay? So, the initial reference often is normally the initial reference, it is of indefinite nature. It doesn't refer to anybody else, So that's why we term it actually. Like for example, a man. So a man means any man it could be, and it is called antecedent. Okay, it refers to that. The subsequent reference is definite or pronoun he, and it's called anaphora. So now the first one you see there. For example, in sentence, a man was looking at us. Okay, a man which is mentioned before, right? So which is indefinite. In he, here it refers back to a man which is indefinite. So this he is actually working is anaphora, right? Anaphoric expression, and the first man which is antecedent, which is not known. Okay. Mostly in pragmatics we have certain theories, and this is the theorem of Christ. Maxim means certain rules which actually this Christ actually talks about the cooperative principle, and in conversation he talks about the maxim of cooperation. I'm not going to spend time actually on this concept, because you must have gone through, you must have familiarized yourself with this concept already in your previous semester. But as a reference or as a refresher, I'm going to talk about these things there. All right. Here he's got four maxims. The first maxim. What does it mean? He says that your conversation, your part, your talking, and it has to be limited. The quantity, it should be known. For example, you have to make your contribution as informative is required, not much than that. You should not say extra thing, but you should try to say things which is required only there. Do not make it more informative than required. You should not give much information, but only the limited. And the second maxim of conversation, that is actually quality. Make your contribution true. Whatever you are saying, it has to have some truth. And do not say you believe is false. You should not say what you think that this is false. Do not say that for which you lack adequate, and you should not say things for which you are lacking some evidence. Relation means you have to be relevant. Relevancy is very, very important. Okay, and then perspicuous. Number 4 means you have to be very clear. You should try to avoid obscurity in your discussions and your expression. Okay, avoid ambiguity and obscurity, almost the same thing. And be brief. You have to avoid unnecessary prolixity. Prolixity means details. Okay, you should not, whenever you say your point, you should try to avoid actually prolixity and extra details, which make things, much ambiguous and obscure. And the fourth one here is that you have to be orderly. I mean, whatever you say, your everything it has to follow in order. All right. These maxims should be recognized is unstated assumption we have in conversation. However, I mean, human conversation, it's so complicated that not a single theory of someone cannot accurately be applied actually on the human actually speech. Therefore, human speech is not that much scientific in order that you can simply. But however, I mean, these are some of the parts, of the human exchanges could be, brought under these. However, there are certain expressions speakers use to mark that they may be in danger, not fully adhering to the principle. Okay. There are even some hedges. Hedges means cautious notes. Means something which makes your expression more accurate and more authentic. Like these, for example, hedges of quality. Now, is for is I know. It means you actually make it more appealing, and more correct. They are married. Means you are trying to say something, to somebody that they are married. It means that you are aware of the fact, I may be mistaken, but I thought I saw a wedding ring on her finger. All right. So I mean, again, you are actually giving something in order to make your statement more correct. I'm not sure if this is right, but I heard it was a secret ceremony. He couldn't live with her, I guess. These are all hedges which are used, just to make your conversations more authentic and more accurate. Hedges of there might be some other example of hedges of quantity. For example, as you probably know, I'm terrified by bugs. Bugs means katmal. Okay, and so to cut a long story short, we grabbed or stuffed and ran. Okay, so these are actually, you are trying to tell something, you see, of a quantity. A kind of quantity is being actually shown there. All right, like again here, I won't bore you with all the detail. Means you are trying to be as brief as possible. But it was an exciting trip, So therefore, you see there. Now, hedges of relevance. I don't know if this is important, but see here, you are trying to relate actually your conversation, a kind of things you are trying to move there in order to bring some relevancy more. This may sound like a dumb question, but again, you are trying to bring some relevancy there. So maxim, if you have read the maxim, it means you all understand what I'm saying. But if you have not gone through, the maxim of Christ, so at least you should go back actually to a Pragmatics course where you can familiarize yourself what are the maxims you see of relevance, what are the maxim of quantity, and what are the maxim of quality, and what are the maxim of relevancy. So you would certainly understand what I'm saying here. But these are actually, and then again, hedges of manner and how other mean it has to tell you something in the order. This may be a bit confused, but now you are trying to show how the thing is going to be said. I'm not sure if this makes sense, but again, you are trying actually to show your manner of saying something. I don't know if this is clear at all. Again, you are going to say something, which enables, the speaker, that a kind of manner is going to be shown there, which really makes your speech in an orderly fashion, So that's why it is there. Now we are going to talk about conversational implicature. Well, first of all, let me tell you something. Implicature. Implicature, you must have heard about simile and metaphor. Well, a simile, we are comparing something, or with two different things. For example, we can say that Sheikh is like Flint. Like we say, Sheikh is like Shakespeare. We are trying to bring a kind of, Sheikh is actually the son of my maternal uncle. That's why he is just sitting in front of me, and this is his shop. That's why he is just in front of me, and that's why I'm giving you the example of Sheikh. So this is actually a kind of simile. Simile means semblance between two different things, but implication at its term is metaphor. Metaphor means implied simile. Remember, implied simile. So implied simile means which is understood. So similarly, actually from implication we understand that what actually we do not look at actually the actual words of the speaker, but rather we get something more than that conversation implication. For example, you can see here, I hope you brought the bread and cheese. Okay, speaker to, I brought the bread, and so it means, so while speaking this sentence, you are enabling actually speaker 1 that I haven't brought actually cheese. Speaker B assume that A infer that what is not mentioned and was not brought. This is understood in fact. Do you like ice cream? So is the Pope Catholic? This is very, very unique sentence which this here, George Will is giving us. So it means now, in pragmatic connections and pragmatic competence, it enables you that actually when you are saying some word, but actually you are not expecting the same answer, but at least you get the answer. Like, do you like ice cream? So its simple answer should be no, yes. But speaker B says, is the Pope Catholic? So it means that if the speaker A knows that yes, so it means that yes, I like ice cream. Okay. So conventional implicature, in contrast to the previous implicature, these ones are not only based on the cooperative principle maxim. Cooperative means that there is a kind of sequence actually in the conversations, while they do not. In implicature, you cannot expect a kind of cooperation, but these are indirect expressions which are made. I think the rest of the detail I should actually escape. This was a little bit, there is a much more there, but which is going to be very, very specific of pragmatics, which I think I should not be spending more time on, because that would be highly than pragmatic lessons. So my dear, recording the video, then uploading it, and then to share it in different medium, it's a very, very difficult task. You must try your level best to listen to these lectures, because we, with great difficulty, we prepare these lecture and then we upload. The basic purpose of this lecture and this thing is to enable you people just to understand them. So thank you very much, and do keep watching my lectures, which I upload even on LMS and even actually on my YouTube channel, and even I share the links actually on the officially designated WhatsApp group. Thank you very much, and do watch them and try to understand and make me. And after this, I'll start actually to share with you people what is actually discourse and what is that. Thank you very much, and so nice.